Good morning, Nigeria. I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television from our corporate headquarters in Lagos State, Nigeria. I am Henry Igwebike. Today, let's kickstart our newspapers this weekend and see through all that we have. From there, we will be diving into our conversation for today equally. Do well to be part of what we do have a say in what we say. You can find us, reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have joining me via Zoom is Emeka Madunagu, journalist, public affairs analyst, development communicator, to see through all that we have and possibly our conversation for today. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for the time. We truly do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. So let's kickstart with the Weekend Trust newspaper, which is the weekend version of the Daily Trust newspaper. We have the big story, Kano realignment. The winners, the losers. Lots of people would say, what is it exactly that Kano needs to gain from defecting to the APC? Even if Kano goes to an unknown party or creates a new party now, it will still win in Kano. Then why then is it going to the APC? You can see the way we play politics in this part of the world, which doesn't truly make any logic sense. But that's what we have. On the top strip, we have Plateau Imam, who sheltered Christians during attack, died. And let's get apart a little to be together. Chief Mike Ahamba, SAN, that's what he's saying. And maybe because of the so much disunity amongst Nigerians, he is advising that maybe let's maybe go apart for like 10 years and see how that works. And if it works, then we would continue. But if it doesn't, maybe we find a way of coming together again. I truly don't know if that would help us in the long run. But the federal government abandoned 7 billion naira agric ministry building, sinks another 11 billion on new site. You can see the level of profligacy in Nigeria. A site that had seen 7 billion naira in investment just to build that Ministry of Agriculture has been abandoned, and another new site has been targeted or earmarked to have 11 billion spent on it again, and they will tell us there's no money in Nigeria allegedly. Well, let's get into other matters. Alleged 1.3 billion fraud. Supreme Court avoids Lamido's son acquittal. Yes, Lamido's son had 40,000 US dollars, and he was asked to explain how that was gotten, and he couldn't. But Emeka, let's take a little bit into what we have. Scars that won't heal. 60 years after coup. And we have May Mallory and other northern military people that were killed in the 1996 coup. Emeka, why is it that the Weekend Trust newspaper is making this a deal? It started on the 15th. Of January, which marked the 60 years after the coup. The Daily Trust newspaper on their front page had Akintola, Balewa, and Showdown on the front page there. And today again, they are revisiting that same story. What are they driving to? Of what ends would this be to us? And what mistakes do you think the media is making deliberately in causing chaos in Nigeria, as far as Daily Trust is making it look like?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I want to say chaos. Basically, the Daily Trust, their strength is in the north. And so they will want to frame a narrative that suits their readers, a narrative that would enable them to sell their print edition and get engagement online, so I think that's just basically it. Because which wounds are not healing? Which wounds are not healing? Who are those, keeping the wounds fresh? I mean, there's an interview by Major General, Brigadier General Abi Sama, retired, I mean, talking about, I think, one of the papers, where he said that Ironsi, Ojukwu, and Zik, they knew about the coup, and it was actually Ironsi and Ojukwu who put down the coup, of January 15, 1966. And so the only reason why people actually still, certain sections of the country still make a song and dance of the coup is that because Ironsi didn't put Zogwa and the rest, than the rest on trial because they didn't put them on trial. That's all. If not, I mean, when people say, "Oh, that no Igbo person died," and you tell them that the quartermaster general of the federation, Attorney Nebo, I forget his rank, he was killed. Interestingly, a fellow Igbo man, when he refused the coupists, access to the armory, they'll tell you, okay, but if you look at there was a disproportionate number. I now asked somebody one day, I said, would it have been nice if members of your family, because one, you are from the old Eastern region, and when we talk about the East, we also include, people in the South South, what we call the South South today, minus Edo and Delta states, which later became, which were actually under the Western region, and later came under the
Midwest.
Under the Midwest. So I now asked the person, I said, would you have preferred maybe some members of your family to be killed so that it would have been, balanced? Yeah, because you think that death is something to be celebrated. People were killed. And it wasn't a happy event at all. The fact that people were killed was even bad enough. Lives were lost. And we have said it, for that reason that there's this consensus in Africa that we say no to coups. That coups are not acceptable because of the bloodletting they keep. Look at the number of people who were killed, because of the assassination of General Mohammed. Look at, just start counting. Look at Vatsa and the rest of them. Lives lost. Well-trained officers, look at the disruptions to families and all of that. We should condemn everything about coup plotting, coup betting and all that. We should condemn all those things in their entirety, not talking about how many people were killed and how many people weren't killed. It doesn't make sense because, one, people who push that narrative, no member of their family is affected. So that's why you hear that if they lost one or two members of their families, they wouldn't at all. So once again, my sympathies to those who lost people in that coup. Unfortunately, there was a counter coup of July 29, 1966, in which so many Igbos, in which so many people from the Eastern region at that time, lost their life. So when we check all those things, we know that look, coups are no longer fashionable. Let's not make a memento, out of such an ugly. Let's put the past behind us and let's work on building the future. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. And I think for historical purposes, for those who might not know, the Gen Zs that might be deceived by the Daily Trust newspaper publications, I think it's very important that we let them know the remote cause of the Nigeria's 1966 coup included deep-seated ethnic tensions at the time, widespread political corruption, nepotism, coupled with a growing sense of marginalization and the demands for fair power sharing, all exacerbated the volatile 1965 Western region election crisis. And all of this actually led to the 1966 coup. So let's not get it twisted and make it look like it was organized by a particular region against other regions. Not at all. Nigeria used to be one. We enjoyed the regional federalism that we had at the time. And but because of all of this hiccups here and there, led to that very sad event. And we hope and we pray that it would not repeat itself again. But let's get to the Punch newspaper, Saturday Punch, that is. We have the big story. Terrorist Bello Turji threat. How families risk lives to enter Niger Republic. Sokoto residents. Emeka, why do you think the federal government deliberately, because I would love to say that again and again, deliberately has refused to catch Bello Turji? Is all of this rumor that we're hearing, is it becoming true, really, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a tie or a pact with these people? Because what is it about Turji, an illiterate, not trained in any way on whatever, on how to dodge. And Nigerian government has refused, with the DSS, the military, the police, NC, lots of other people have refused to catch this man. And it's still causing mayhem to Nigeria. So what exactly is it that we do not know? Emeka, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. We got to realize that 2G is a terrorist. And terrorists, thrive on fear, And then we also have sympathizers in the military. So that's why you see that the military high command, the political establishment has been using a combination of kinetic, that is direct confrontation, direct engagement, and non-kinetic methods. That is, using negotiation and all of that, So that's why you see, and it looks as if, 2G, it's so powerful that they cannot, get him, they cannot defeat him, and all of that. That's not the case at all. 2G can easily be defeated, but, the government, I think, is trying to be human conduct. That is one. Secondly, don't forget President Bola Tinubu is desperate about the second term. And so, for that reason,
all right, we seem not to hear you, Emeka.
President Goodluck Jonathan, where some people said that Jonathan was killing their brothers, When there was a serious crackdown on Boko Haram, and some people said Jonathan was killing their brothers. So that's, what Tinubu is also trying to avoid by going on an all-out, engagement, military engagement with these people. But the thing is this, you see, you cannot not go on this engagement, one way or the other, at one time or the other. At one time or the other. You still have to go on this engagement, whether you like it or not. You can't sacrifice security and lives on, political, on the altar of political yes. Not work that way. So we have to be guided, in dealing with this area. That's the best thing. We engage them. We have to engage them, and we have to wipe them out. There's no middle ground. We have to wipe them out. Whatever political consideration there are, Tinubu should actually consider the interest of the nation, the future of the nation, above his personal ambition, so that he will have a nation to govern. That's the issue. You have a nation to govern. Thank you.
Yes, Emeka, we have a nation to govern. It's often said that to whom much is given, much is expected. I remember His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi was asked about this, especially with regards to the separatists and other people that are enemies of the nation. He said that he believes in negotiation. So do you think if Peter Obi were to be the president, he would still have maybe pampered these people and had gone with what President Bola Tinubu is doing now, non-kinetic measure, that is negotiation and appealing to them, while these people are still on their track of killing and maiming people?
Guess Peter Obi, I cannot guess on what he could have done, but going by his utterances, I'll say that I think he would have had a better handling.
How? How do you think he would have had a better handling?
Selection of, Tinubu definitely himself, he acknowledges that he chose the wrong set of people in his cabinet. Secretary, and ministers, a lot of underwhelming performance. That has been a major issue. So that's why, of course, you saw that's why, where were you? That's why you saw he changed, service chiefs and all of that. So, what it shows is that the selection, who are the people in charge of your security, establishment? Who are the people you've chosen, to handle your security establishment? That's where that's one of the issues. That's one of the issues. So, and then secondly, that's one of the that's one of the problems. That's one of the problems that the Tinubu administration has been facing. The quality of personnel handling, it's a military defense architecture, and so that's why you've had this kind of performance. It's not about maybe appeasement or negotiation and all of that. After all, every nation of the world will tell you they don't negotiate with terrorists. But somehow, through back channels, when they think there's a need for it, they do so. They engage in such negotiations, such non-kinetic method. But be that as it may, the government must have the must have the monopoly of violence. You cannot have non-state actors dominating the security space. You cannot have non-state actors, dragging space with the state. And that is the sad thing we have in Nigeria. It's not as if these people cannot be defeated. Yes, but the other thing is that you have to also look at the socio-economic factors. The poverty, 89% poverty in the north. So it makes it so easy for them to keep recruiting people. Look at illiteracy rate. 18.5 million children out of school. So what do you, what kind of situation do you expect from such, where you have such people poverty, so that's why the government has to look at it from different angles. You don't handle such situations just through military engagement. You also look at the socio-economic aspect of the whole thing. People are poor in the north, and it's so easy to, to bribe people. It's so easy to get people, with economic, incentives and things like that. So the government has to look at all of these things. Thank you.
Yes, Emeka, you talked about non-state actors. As it happens in one region, it's equally crisscrossing to another region. Yesterday, 2 policemen were gunned down at Abani in Enugu by gunmen who I would love to believe are sympathetic to the IPOB sect. And the big question, Emeka, is why do you think the Southeast had found it difficult to eradicate all of this that is very alien to the Igbo man? The Igbo man, blood spillage is a sacrilege. It's something they don't even want to see by any means. But now it's becoming very common. What do you think what do you think can be done to totally eradicate this from the society in the southeast of Nigeria? Then my second question is, why do you think we don't see more of this in Abia State, but other southeastern states you see some of this issue? Is it because the Abia people are more sympathetical with the leader they truly have voted for, as against other regions where it's looking like this is not the man we voted for? What do you think is the drive to all of this?
No. The thing is this: the Abia State you mentioned, 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 the Abia State you mentioned. Don't forget, there was the discovery made at Lokpanta in Omoya. The discoveries made in 2023. Remember that Abia State Governor Alex Otti, yes. He actually held a press conference. He held a press conference in October 2023, where he said, where he talked about the horrendous discoveries at Lokpanta settlement, where you have a lot of northerners. So don't forget that is part of the security challenges that have taken place in the southeast. Then you see, unfortunately, unfortunately, the Southeast has had a mixed, bag of, security challenges, a mixed bag. And the sad thing was that these things were not properly handled. Or, of course, they were not properly handled by the governors at the time, by the Southeast leaders, at the time, they were not properly handled, and also by the Buhari administration. Buhari was advised to, handle the Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB, ASOP, to handle them in such a way that you don't give them prominence. But Buhari, had his own agenda, he had his own objectives, and worsened things. He was told, be very careful so that you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. But Buhari did worse. He committed war crimes against the Southeast. And of course, we've heard people, non-state actors who are boasting of how they killed Igbos. But it was not just about IPOB. Yes, the broadcasts, by certain secessionists, also worsened their matters, and then they also unintelligently played into the hands of people who actually wanted the Southeast to be in a state of turmoil. And let me tell you, look at Rafo Azurike. Nobody is interrogating the egregious, the harm he did to the Southeast by discouraging people from participating in the census of 2006. That was a major crime. That's a major crime that a lot of people pretend to overlook. Because he was the one that told Igbo not to participate. And we know how it has affected, the Southeast, the 5 Southeast states. Today, how it has affected them. Today, we're talking of the VAT debate. How much is going to each region? We're talking about now, it's about derivation. How much is being derived from the Southeast? So now we're waking up to the reality. Now, population, is a key determinant in revenue allocation. Population is a key determinant in revenue allocation, and so the sad thing is that, you saw what Chukwuma Soludo, governor of Anambra, was saying the other day. That's, with due respect to him, he appears to have a very wrong view about issues in the Southeast, where he's a governor. The fact that he's a governor doesn't make him God, So the point is that, yes, spilling of blood is abhorrent to Igbo culture. But of course, when you have renegades, when you have brigands who are left unchecked, even in the best of cultures, they will, show their, they will displace, your time-honored virtues. So that is why those who are regarded as leaders, in any society, must always speak up. They should not be afraid. They should not be afraid to speak the truth. They should not collect bribes. They should speak the truth. They should not, in search of money, mortgage their conscience. That is a tragedy. That's the tragedy that the Southeast has faced.
So, Emeka, I want to ask you this.
Yes.
Sorry for interjection, yes. Emeka. If you were,
yes.
if you were within the corridor of power and you had the opportunity of advising Governor Peter Mbah now on how to end all the incessant killing of military and police officers in different checkpoints, what would be that keynote advice you would give him on how to mitigate this?
It's not just Governor Peter Mbah. The Southeast needs a joint collaboration. It's sad. I don't know whether our governors are afraid or timid. They don't want to do things.
But we have
that was a useless arrangement. Ubago ended up killing Igbos instead of defending them. It was a useless arrangement. It was just a bunch of terrorists and criminals, who ended up killing Igbos rather than protecting them. So what we need in the Southeast is that we need to work together. We need collaboration. There are a lot of things that we need to learn. Like Igbos have a saying, they say akonuche. Akonuche is deep understanding, deep wisdom, application of wisdom, deep understanding of issues. that you don't look at every issue on the surface. There are issues that are beyond the way they appear. And so there's also another saying in Igbo, Igwe Bike. There's unity in numbers. So if I had to advise the governor, not just Governor Peter, but all of them need to come together. We need to work on a viable river port in the southeast. Either, upgrade on Icha River Port, then Uguta. Uguta has a direct link to the Atlantic Ocean through, Orashi River, coming out of Degema. We need to develop that link. We need to work on it. Somebody says that with 600 billion naira, you can have a viable river port in Uguta. How much is 600 billion naira? It's not a lot of money. That if Igbos decide today to crowdfund, it's not money that Igbos cannot raise. Igbos can easily raise that money. Then again, in terms of security, we need to collaborate. We need to work together. We need to work together so that you do a ring fence of the entire Southeast. In terms of personnel, in terms of technology, in terms of information, in terms of intelligence gathering. You keep people out. And then don't forget, we should also sustain the Nwa Boy legacy, somebody. You see somebody who's successful becoming a mentor to so many younger people, training them in different skills, and not just in attaining knowledge of trading, also scaling to manufacturing, to agro-processing, also understanding structure, how to register your business, how to structure, how to make sure you pay your taxes regularly, So with that, you create jobs. With that, you create employment. With that, you have a better, a more contextual understanding of the issues in the Southeast. Everything must not come from the federal government. Yes, I know the federal government has been spending, disproportionate amounts in terms of development of different parts of the country. Yes, but the thing is this: when we choose people for ministerial positions, when we choose people for ambassadorial positions, and we put our own children, we put our girlfriends, we put our sisters, we put our wives, what are we telling people? We are telling them that we are comfortable, even if it is our last 11, that we can send them forward. It shows we are not serious. It shows we don't even understand that the Southeast is in a deep crisis, in a deep mess, and therefore we need to engage the best, to be able to, get ourselves out of the mess we're into. Even if the federal government, invests heavily in infrastructure in the Southeast, do we have enough professionals who can handle the responsibilities of running these places efficiently? That's the question. That's the question. If the Southeast is not safe enough, if it is not hospitable enough, you won't have people coming to live there. Then at the end of the day, these people from other regions or non-Nigerians whom you'll be engaging again to come around these things. So we need to have a paradigm shift. We must work together in the Southeast. It is very, very important. Thank you.
Yes, very so important if really the Southeast is ready to get itself out of this. And Governor Chukwuma Soludo had said that the Igbo man must throw away this individual marginalization feeling and emotion that they have if they truly want to get themselves and feel like Nigerians. I truly do not know what he is talking about. As a governor, he holds that opportunity of making that possible with good governance starting from his state. And I guess that will be the beginning. The Abia people are very proud. Every Abia man loves to, at any opportunity, tell anyone that cares to listen, I am from Abia State, because they are represented by someone who truly does understand what good governance is. Just imagine if that spreads across the southeast of Nigeria, the southwest of Nigeria, the north central, northeast, northwest. That would be a very wonderful opportunity for Nigerians. But because we grossly have deficit of leadership across board, this is why Nigerians are no longer proud to be called Nigerians. Let's get talking. We still have Emeka Madunagu, but that will be when we return. Court halts Rivers Assembly impeachment plot. That in the Beat Enterprise weekend it is. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, Enterprise Weekend it is, reaching you from Enterprise Television. On our main conversation for today, we have it that Rivers State High Court, sitting in Oyibo, local government area of Port Harcourt, has issued an interim injunction restraining the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Chief Judge of the state from taking further steps to impeach Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. The order affects the Speaker of the House, 25 other lawmakers, the Clerk of the Assembly, and the Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi. The court barred the Chief Judge from receiving, forwarding, considering, or acting on any resolution, impeachment notice, or related communication aimed at setting up a panel to investigate allegations of misconduct against the governor and his deputy for a period of 7 days. The ruling was delivered by Justice F.A. Fiberesima while considering a motion ex parte filed separately by Governor Fubara and his deputy. In the decision, the court also granted permission for substituted service of the interim order and other court processes on the defendants. According to the order, documents are meant for the 1st to the 31st defendants are to be served at the gate of the Rivers State House of Assembly quarters, while those meant for the Chief Judge are to be served through any staff of the Judiciary at his chambers within the High Court premises. Justice Fiberesima adjourned the matter to January of 23rd, 2026 for the hearing of the substantive motion. Emeka Madunagu is still here with us. Emeka, thank you so very much for hanging on. Let's get to River State yet again. This confusion is becoming too much for Nigerians. We don't even understand again what is happening to River State. Of course, we know the remote cause. Siminalayi Fubara Wike's feud, but this court rulings and dissolution of the court rulings, and just this morning I learned that the 4 lawmakers that were opposed to the impeachment have done a U-turn. Where are we right now, Emeka? Because every single minute, stories change. Where are we right now as of now?
Yeah, where we are is that Nyesom Wike is just playing. He's just playing himself, and it means.
Are you still there, Emeka? All right, I think we're having a bit of communication error there. We hope Emeka will join us quick, because it's very important that we discuss River State yet again. It seems to be a burning matter, a burning issue in Nigeria as we speak today. Lots of contending matters, lots of issues that needs to be discussed and made easy for Nigerians to understand what is happening in River State today. Siminalayi Fubara, Nyesom Wike, very good friends before now, but today they are the best of fools, lots of people would say. Now with the River State House of Assembly hoping that the Chief Judge of the state would do something to help impeach Fubara, and the court equally stating that the judge should not in any way be part of this and many more. Would the River State House members listen to some of these things? A country where rule of law is disobeyed at random, do you think this would work? Emeka Madunagu, are you still here with us? So I will get Emeka ready to get talking, and just to let you know, this is Enterprise Weekend, and we are on the talk of impeachment of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. So we would go for a quick break. But just before we get that, I hope Emeka is here with us. Emeka, are you here? Are you? Okay,
yes,
beautiful.
I'm here. I'm back.
Yes, all right, beautiful.
Yes, the system lockdown.
Yeah, all right.
So what I'm saying is that yes, on weekdays tactics, is beginning to, lose the. He has lost the plot actually. So maybe he thought, from time to time he could blackmail. He could threaten President Bola Tinubu. But Tinubu has finally got Fubara. And one thing he doesn't realize is that Tinubu doesn't love either himself or Fubara. All he just cares is how to use them, for his dream second-term ambition, And so that's why you see Fubara went straight Tinubu to declare allegiance without going to Nyesom Wike. And then now Wike is trying to use that to blackmail Tinubu. Well, of course, Tinubu doesn't care, but, I think it's getting to the point where Tinubu might just tell him to take a walk. He is trying to turn himself, into someone who can cause collateral damage for Tinubu. But one thing he ought to realize is that seasons change. Seasons change. And he should have read the handwriting on the wall. Look at yesterday, what the River State High Court, the ruling he gave that, it prevented the chief judge from receiving any impeachment notice from the House of Assembly. And of course, they have to comply. You cannot say.
I think he has received it this morning, Emeka. According to the latest information we have, the chief judge
of the state has received it. He can receive it, but he cannot act on it. They can take it to his office, but they cannot act on it unless the court vacates that judgment. Unless the court vacates that ruling, he cannot act on it. It's as simple as ABC. He cannot act on it. They can take it to his office. They can give it to his clerk. They can actually, record service, but they won't, he cannot act on it. And again, you need 14 days. They needed 14 days, within which to investigate, the whole thing, But look at what they are trying to do, trying to prepare the ground because they are expecting that Tinubu will return to the country any moment from now, will return to Nigeria any moment from now. But of course, the point there is just for you to see that Nigerians, have been reduced, have been so pauperized that, we fight for people who oppress us, the people who work against us, we fight for them, and which is very sad. You can see Tinubu, you can see Nyesom Wike. Look at these House of Assembly members. They are not talking about anything that has to do with the state or with anything that has to do with uplifting the state. All they are talking about is that the 600 billion naira budget passed by the National Assembly and handed over to the administrator, to the former illegal sole administrator. That, Fubara should just keep that budget aside, and do a supplementary budget that will be dictated by the House of Assembly and Wike, because there are insinuations that the idea is to use that 2025 budget passed by the National Assembly as a war chest for the 2027 elections, But of course, there is no need for a supplementary budget at all, which is what Governor Siminalayi Fubara has told them. There's no need for any supplementary budget. And that's why, you see this House of Assembly members going back and forth. Those the four that, the two men and the two women, the two actors and the two actresses, that came out, just thought that maybe, that the APC will call them to a peace meeting or that President Tinubu will reach out to them, but they have been ignored. So that's why they are trying to go ahead with this thing. But their impeachment is just drama. They can't do anything. They cannot at all. It doesn't mean that if the House of Assembly says it's going to impeach a governor, that the impeachment can succeed. It doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. And it can be seen right now that the so-called master strategy that President Tinubu is just a fluke. If somebody with whom you negotiated out of other people, you negotiated with Ganduje. You negotiated with Kwankwaso. You negotiated with different people, Jews or Carlo. You negotiated with different people across the country. You negotiated with Oshomole. You negotiated with so many people across, and just one person out of all of them is trying to hold you hostage. By the way, how many votes came from Rivers State? Let the question be asked. How many votes came from Rivers State? Compared to what came from other states, compared to what came, what came from even Lagos. Where Tinubu was defeated, by P2B of the Labour Party at that time. What came from other states? What came from Oyo State? What, of course, where that Tinubu had a negotiation with Governor Siminalayi Fubara, of the PDP, to secure victory, Then, other states. So the question now is being asked that, wait a minute, what actually did Wike contribute to this effort that he is being so audacious and, and it looks like it can't be controlled. So I think the Tinubu kitchen cabinet will be working out a way to handle him in such a way that he cannot cause collateral damage to them. And I think that's where they are right now. Thank you.
But what's your take on Fayoshe's claim that Tinubu would never sacrifice Nyesom Wike for Siminalayi Fubara? What's your take on this? Is he equally stating facts, or is he just hallucinating at this point, knowing that he is a strong friend of Nyesom Wike at this point?
You have answered. The proposition has swallowed the answer. It's as simple as whose interest is Fayoshe representing? Why is he going from TV station to TV station and saying things that don't exist? Why is he saying he won't? Is he Tinubu? Is he the one telling Tinubu what to do? All these things are just fanciful talk, just to make Tinubu, just to make it look like. In the first place, Nyesom Wike doesn't have a direct access to Tinubu. He has lost access to Tinubu. He has lost direct access to Tinubu. So all these things he's doing are just a way of trying to gain attention from Tinubu. If he had direct access to Tinubu, he would have gone to France to meet with Tinubu. But Fubara went to France to meet with Tinubu. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano, he's said to have gone to Kano, and he's said to have gone to France to meet with Tinubu. But Wike has been unable to do that. So it just clearly tells you who can easily be sacrificed. And it's as simple as ABC that Wike, of course, is on his way out on the power calculus. Even if he's retained as a minister, it can be made redundant. Tell me how many ministers you can count in this administration that you remember their names, or you even have an idea what they are doing. Tell me now how many ministers, whom you have an idea what they are doing. You can be in the administration but be made redundant. It can just be ignored, largely ignored. And then with time you'll be eased out. Who told him that Tinubu cannot? Who is Wike? Fubara is a sitting governor. Wike is a mere minister. There's a difference. There's a strategic difference. And let me tell you, in terms of who is Wike going to support? If it comes down to that, if it comes down to 2027, what alternative what option does he have? If he had been smart enough, he wouldn't have destroyed PDP. He would have destroyed PDP. He wouldn't have destroyed PDP. But he destroyed PDP. The key elements in PDP, except former President Goodluck Jonathan, have left. So who is he going to push for? He's now fighting with Seyi Makinde. He went to court. He has gone to court to invalidate the convention held in Oyo State, in Ibadan, under the watch of Governor Seyi Makinde. So who is he going to? Wike, of course, with all he has said, although I know he says one thing in the morning, does another thing in the afternoon. Will he, is he going to support Atiku Abubakar if he imagines the ADC candidate, or P2B if he imagines the ADC presidential candidate? Who? Or is he going to support Seyi Makinde if he imagines the PDP is a presidential candidate? He has set his own house ablaze. So he doesn't have any political structure right now. He can't control the PDP in Rivers State. He can't. He can't control it. So he's becoming gradually like an internally displaced politician, an IDP. You know, I mean, so he brought it upon himself. So whether Tinubu discards him or not, what about Ganduje? What about Ganduje? Okay, fine. Tinubu, you know, Tinubu patronized him until Kwankwaso demystified him in Kano. That set the stage, of course, to say Ganduje, get out. You know, that they could display. I mean, yes. So, I mean, who says if you remove rigging and violence, who says that Wike can be of any significance in Rivers State? How many people will listen to Wike today on a good day in Rivers State? Look at the rubbish he tried in Bayelsa, and they told him that that if he tried, they would deal with him. Did he go to Bayelsa? He went, he ran away. Has he been there since then? You know, he said that any governor who confronts him that he will cause violence in his state. Why hasn't he gone to your state? He should have gone to your state. He should have, and let me see whether he will escape. He should let him go to your state if he's so strong, or let him go to Zamfara where there's PDP. Let him go to any of the PDP states. Let him go to Osun State. You know, even though the governor there has moved to Accord. You know, so that tells you it's all about noise. Because he has some sections of the media in his pocket. You know, so from time to time he will call them for a media chat and rant. But that's the end of the story. He has no political value. He doesn't have any political value any longer. Nobody listens to him. So, and, you know, Tinubu is going to need a master stroke to dislodge Wike. And it's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. It's not difficult. You know, because if they can put pressure on the speaker, Amewule, to resign. Yes. There were rumors that was going to be impeached, but he can be put under pressure to resign. Yes. And when he resigns, that's the end of the story. So all this one Wike just doing up and down is to gain Tinubu's attention, because he doesn't have direct access to Tinubu. That's all. Nothing else. He can't do anything right now. He has actually failed woefully. You know, take it to the bank. So that's why you see him making all this noise. There's no impeachment. It's all a waste. It's just a wasted game. Martin Amewule, you know, is thinking, oh, if you impeach the governor and the deputy, then he will be the acting governor for 3 months. Then he will now be in a position to choose delegates, you know, to choose candidates. He will now be in charge of the selection process. Because, you know, very soon you'll start talking of party primaries, so that he will be in a position to choose candidates, you know, for position of governor and all of that, and possibly even push himself forward.
Yeah,
you know, we know all of these things.
Yeah.
But we cannot. He just wastes. You see, the problem with some of these young guys, you know, some of these small boys, is that they don't know when, you know, when they are crossing, you know, when they are making themselves irrelevant. Too much ambition makes them think, you know, they are just that they are there. Whereas you are no longer there, you are out. And you're going to see what will happen by next week. You'll see what will happen. You know, all this rubbish is going to be put in the trash can. You will see what will happen by next week. You know, because I know definitely, I mean, the utterances Wike has made here and there, you know, I think he has, actually, got to the end of his political career. And take that from me, you know, because what is all this? You are blackmailing Tinubu, blackmailing everybody, insulting No. You don't do that. Thank you.
Yes, Emeka, thank you so very much. We really do appreciate your time. It's actually quite strange how that adults that little kids should learn from do not conform to rules of engagement. It's on public domain. When Wike was asked by a broadcaster or journalist about the issue Tinubu has at the time with Ambode and godfatherism. He said that Ambode should resist Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he equally stated that godfatherism would never work in River State. He never knew that a time would come, but he would be the one enforcing what he had called out for. And that is how politics work in Nigeria, unfortunately. But of course, it's often said that what we speak out, goes around as a boomerang. It has a way of coming around. He said if Siminalayi Fubara becomes a governor yet again, that his political career will be dead. Let's hope and see if that political career will be, of course, buried by the time Siminalayi Fubara becomes the governor yet again. It's a developing story. Right here on Enterprise Television, we promise to bring them to you very good and well garnished. We promise you. And that's our time for today. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here. I truly do appreciate you, as always. All right, people, that's our time. We'd love to say thank you. Please do well to follow us. You can find us at enterprisetvnews.com. Also, do well to rewatch, download, share to your friends and folks when you visit us at Enterprise TV 7. Henry Gwibike is my name. Thank you for being a part of our show today. Have yourself a splendid weekend. God bless you. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye-bye.